Welcome back. So, it's been a while, as you probably realized, and I did have another video in the works, but I decided to scrap it for this one instead because I feel like is a better idea. So, today, as you probably already read from the title, we are going to be just looking at some albums that I really enjoyed, or at least enjoyed, from the past month. I'm hoping to do this each month. I didn't do January, both because not much released in January, and also because I only just came up with the idea this month slash February. So we're starting now. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope you find something that you haven't listened to this month. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but either way, I hope that you enjoy the video. So, let's get the big one out of the way. Ants from Up There by Black Country, New Road. Now, I have a lot to say about this album, and I will try to keep it short here, because if you want my full opinion, you can read my review, which I will link in the description. Now, not all of these albums I have written reviews for, so just a forewarning, I guess. For the ones I haven't written reviews for, I will speak more in depth about. But Black Country New Road's swan song, almost, Ants From Up There, is an amazing album with amazing tracks, amazing lyrics, it's perfect. It's a perfect album, and it completely represents what the band is and what hopefully they will become in the future. Now, I know that Isaac unfortunately left the band right before this album's release, which to me made this album even stronger because it really showed Isaac's mental health through these songs, and I adore that. Each one of these tracks are amazing in their own way, even the weaker ones, if you could even call them that. Tracks like Mark's Theme, which I guess is the weakest song, if you want to call it that, but even that song is phenomenal. It's a beautiful piece. Even the intro is good. How many albums do you get where that's good? Front, back, and center, this album is perfect, and if you have not listened to it for some reason, please, please, please go and listen to it. You will not regret it. I would definitely give it a solid perfect 10. I can't give it any less than that, honestly. Mitski also returned after, how long has it been? 4 years? With her newest release, Laurell. And I wanted to comment on it a little bit, as I've seen a lot of people regard this as Mitski's worst album, and I would disagree with that. I actually really like this album, and I really like the direction she has taken with style, with sound, and I enjoy the more synthy aspects of the album, and I enjoy the more personal and vulnerable look we have. Instead of Mitski singing about general heartbreak and breakup, we instead see her talk about and sing about herself and her struggles as an artist and the music industry as a whole. And I really like that. I think she does it really well, and it makes me excited to see more. Plus, there are some really good ambient-esque tracks on here, and I would recommend checking it out if you haven't already. I would definitely give it a solid 8. It's not perfect, but it definitely remains memorable, and I can give it credit for that, and it's heartfelt. Animal Collective, or just Anko, released an album as well this year, after a good while of not much. The band had sort of disappeared for a bit, releasing little bits every once in a while, but their previous full-length album was in 2018 with Tangerine Reef, which you could call an album, but even then I don't know if you would, because the album itself was more so just a compilation of a live stream that they did, an ambient live stream that they did. So, depends if you consider that an album or not. And if you don't, then their previous full-length actual LP was Painting With in 2016, so that would make it 6 years since their previous full-length release. And Painting With and Tangerine Reef aren't very strong albums, especially the latter. So, I was excited for Time Skiffs. I'm sure everyone was. And was it a disappointment? Not for me. I like it a lot. Is it Animal Collective's best? No, not really. But it has some really, really great songs on it. Songs such as Prester John, the lead single, Walker is really fun, Cherokee is fun, Passerby is it's fun. It's a fun album is what I'm trying to say. And if you haven't heard it, if you've been on the fence maybe, I would recommend going to listen to it. And if you haven't heard it, go listen to it. And if you're not sure what to think of it, then give it another listen. I think it is worthwhile. There are some real hidden gems here, and some of Anko's best work, I think. Especially songs like Prester John, Strung With Everything. Really, really good songs. I think this deserves a solid 8 as well. It's not perfect, but it's another solid entry into Anko's discography. I can't fault it, really. It's solid, it's fun, and it's just Animal Collective. What more do you want? Deathcrash come in with their debut album, Return. Now, this band has been on many people's radars for a while now, mainly due to their debut EP, which was released last year, entitled People Thought My Windows Were Stars. Now, this EP, which I have listened to as well in preparation for their debut album, is just relatively, it's a post-rock EP, there's not much else to it. It's nice, I like it, but it's nothing new. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's a nice listen, but that's that. Their debut album, on the other hand, does bring quite a bit to the table. Return brings elements of post-rock, slowcore, and post-hardcore all into one nice package. While the album is a bit hefty, and I would like to say is one of the longest that I will talk about on this list, at an hour and 5 minutes, the album feels crafted and everything works. It doesn't feel too long or drawn out. And as it's a slowcore album, it makes sense to be this long. Slowcore albums are never short. The song lengths vary from the lowest being about 2 minutes, the longest being 9 minutes, so not too bad, I suppose, depending on how you look at it. And pretty much every song here, for the most part, is pretty memorable. I can take things from pretty much every song here, apart from maybe the shorter ones, which feel more interlude-y than anything else. But you have songs like Sundown, which is an excellent opener that really sets the tone for this brooding, storm-like feel. Unwind, which is a good follow-up. Horses, which is a short, interlude-esque song, which was also released as a single. Then you've got songs like American Metal, which is definitely a favourite. Metro 1, Slow Day, What to Do, Doom Crash, Was Living. All amazing songs, and the Low Anthem, which is the closer, even though it's relatively short, is a very nice, slow burn. So for the most part, this is a very solid listen, and I would recommend it, obviously. So please go and listen to it. Now this album I also have not reviewed at all, or rated I don't think, so I haven't really talked about this whatsoever, so this is my first time talking about it. So go listen to it. It's good. I would give this a solid 8 to 9. I'm not too sure, so I guess you could say an 8.5 if you want to say that. But it's solid, it's very intuitive, if that's the right word to use. I really like it, so it depends which way you want to lean, really. Half full, half empty, 8 or 9. Up to you to decide which one I've chosen. Caroline. An album and band, really, that I've been anticipating for a while now. Ever since I first heard the single IWR, I was hooked. I was really excited for this. This was probably my most anticipated album of the year, next to Anthem up there. Did it disappoint? Did I like it? I really like it. It has grown on me especially. I remember I pre-ordered the album like the second I had heard IWR. I adored that song. If you take anything from this, please at least listen to that song. But their debut album, also entitled Caroline, self-titled, is a relatively short album. It's only 46 minutes, and only really has 6, 7 full-length songs. The tracklist is interspliced with shorter interlude-esque songs, so you get a long song or 2 long songs even, and then a short song. For example, the 2 opening tracks are both about 6 minutes, then the third one is a minute. IWR 6.5, Messen 7, 1.5, 5.5, 50 seconds, 7 minutes, 2 minutes, etc., etc. The album has big post-rock-esque tracks, and then the smaller little ambient minimalist tracks. Now, this album is not for everyone, because it's difficult. Especially with the longer songs. I feel like I think I would describe Caroline as a much more ambient and minimalist Black Country New Road. And if you like that, then by all means go listen. I really like this album. And while there are weaker points, especially some of the shorter tracks, I feel like for the most part, this is a very solid release, and I'm very excited to see where Caroline goes after this. And I'm also seeing Caroline live relatively soon, so I'm also very excited for that, because I'm sure that'll be very interesting. So go listen to this, or at least listen to the singles, Dark Blue, Good Morning Red, IWR, Skydiving. They're all really good songs. Go listen. This one's a trickier one, as I already said. I think I would give this a solid 8 or 9, but probably leaning more towards 8. As I said, it's grown on me. I'd originally given it a 7, but it's grown on me enough for me to give it a solid 8 out of 10. Now, I haven't actually listened to any Big Thief prior to this. I knew of them, and I'd been meaning to listen to them, but I hadn't. So this was my first proper Big Thief album. And I went into it pretty much blind, but I saw so much praise to this album, I sort of just had to go in. Big Thief's big release, 20 songs, double album, Dragon New Warm Mountain, I Believe in You. I don't know what that title means, but it doesn't matter. This album is beautiful. It's really good. I would consider this a very high point of the month, and I can't compare it to their other stuff, but from what I can tell, it seems to be their best release. This album, to me, is an alt-country, folky, indie rock sort of thing, and I would say it's not for everyone, but I feel like this album is hard not to enjoy. There is a lot here that is just amazing. And it's 20 songs. There's going to be something here you enjoy. Songs like the opener, Change, Timescaping, Spud Infinity, all of those songs are fun, they're bouncy, they're twangy, and it's amazing. The title track is relaxing, it's wonderful. Sparrow, which I've seen a lot of people dislike, I love the repetition of the lyrics. Flower of Blood and Blurred View being darker songs, amazing. Then obviously we have the big song off the album that everyone adores, Simulation Swarm. Beautiful song, phenomenal, perfect track. If you haven't listened to that, please go and do it. This whole thing is full of amazing songs, and if you haven't listened to it yet, please go and do it. It is a phenomenal little record. Or big, I guess. Very, very, very strong 9. It's not perfect. There are bits and pieces where I think maybe they could have been cut or just changed, but for the most part, very solid 9, and honestly, I need to go and listen to Big Thief's backlog. I need to go back and listen to stuff like Masterpiece, because this is amazing. And finally, we get the second best album of the month. I didn't really put these in any order, I guess, but either way, Beach House comes in with Once Twice Melody, which I would consider to be their best album, but yes, the second best album this month, because Black Country New Road basically trumped literally anything that could have released this month. But Once Twice Melody came close, I'll give them that. Beach House have been a band for a while. We all know who Beach House are. You've all heard Space Song, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna lecture you on Beach House. But Once Twice Melody is by far their best record for so many reasons. It combines everything that they had done on their previous records into one quite large record split into 4 parts, and was released over the course of 4 months, with Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 4 being released with the full album on the day of release. I had listened to Chapter 1 when it released, but I didn't listen to any of the other chapters until Chapter 4 released. Then I listened to the entire thing in one sitting. And I'm sort of glad I did that, because I got to experience everything in one go, and by God, was it worth it. This thing is full to the brim of utterly stunning songs. Tracks like Superstar, which is ethereal, it feels hypnotizing, it feels like a journey through space. Then you got New Romance, which is a romance song, it's the best way to put it, but it's so fantasy-like with the atmosphere it gives off. You can't help but fall in love with it, much like the narrator falls in love with whoever they're singing about. I especially love the chorus singing ILYSFM, which just stands for I love you so fucking much. Then songs like Another Go Around, Only You Know, Masquerade, Illusion of Forever, Finale, The Bells, Modern Love Stories. There's just so much here. And if you haven't listened to it already, please go and do that, because this album is so good. This is peak dream pop. If I had to rate it, which of course I'm going to, it is a perfect album. It's a perfect 10. It's perfect. And I wouldn't give it anything else. Well, no, again, it doesn't trump Ants From Up There, which is also a perfect 10. It comes close, I suppose. It's still a 10, because I can't fault it. But that's that, I guess. So, what I hope that you have got from this video is hopefully one of these albums you haven't heard. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. There's only 7 here. And these are the big standouts to me, I suppose, or at least the ones I wanted to talk about the most. I know that some of these albums, like Ants From Up There or Beach House, aren't exactly little albums that you'd never have heard of. So, I don't expect those to be, ooh, let's check these unheard albums out. That wasn't entirely the point. I wanted to share this because I wanted to try and do this sort of thing each month, where I talk about a handful of albums that are really good, solid from the previous month. And hopefully some really good stuff releases in March so I can make a video on it. And if nothing good releases in March, then, well, shit, I guess. It won't be a very long video. But February is so jam-packed with such amazing releases that it's going to be difficult for the rest of the year to really stand an inch against it. I don't know if that's a saying or not. If it isn't, then I made it up. But let's see, we still have most of the year left. We're only on the 3rd month. So let's see what happens in 2022, the year hopefully the world goes somewhat back to normal. Hopefully. And with that, I shall end the video here. I'm never good at outros, so excuse me, and I need to piss. So goodbye, good night, good morning, good... whatever time it is, I don't really care, because you're gonna stop watching this video anyway. Goodbye.
Some way to keep me in your mind. And later on